Janardhan, Uvarasan. Any one of you can explain about the gravimetry, principle behind gravimetry? Kamalatmika? You can unmute your mic and then give answers. So nobody is listening to the class. Rahul or Babisha. Manikavelu. Naveen. Samyugda. So nobody is there in the class, huh? Just you all have joined for namesake. Yeah, Naveen.
Ma'am.
Yeah, explain about the last class titles, what we have discussed under gravimetric method.
Ma'am, types. Principle.
Okay.
Steps of gravimetric analysis.
Okay.
Digestion
So
and Oswald depending.
Okay. And what else we have discussed? Only types, principle, and steps involved
common
in
ion effect.
Yeah, common ion effect and solubility product we have discussed. Okay. Anyway, once again we'll revise the same title since you have written a sessional exam after then. After 15 days you are attending class again, I think so. So we'll revise the topic once again and then we'll move on to the next part of gravimetry. And those who have not responded will be noted and your attendance will be lagged when in the forthcoming classes. Okay. Those are not answering in the particular class will be considered for 2 more classes. If you are not answering like that, your attendance will be absent then. Okay. So we have discussed under gravimetric method. So let's move on to the class. Under gravimetric method, can you see the slides? Can you see the presentation slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then let me proceed. So we have discussed under gravimetric method as per your syllabus. These are all the contents we have seen. In that only first part and few points under purity of the precipitate have been discussed, right? So what are the 3 titles, subtitles under gravimetric method as per your syllabus is needed to be discussed are principle and steps involved in gravimetric analysis, principle and steps involved in gravimetric analysis, then purity of the precipitate, since gravimetry represents precipitate formation and analyzing some solid particle, solid mass. So we need to discuss about precipitate. In that 2 parts are majorly concentrated, that is co-precipitation and post-precipitation. Then taking an example of barium sulfate estimation is to be discussed. The concept behind estimation of barium sulfate, principle, procedure, chemical reaction, mechanism, everything, calculation, this all needed to be discussed under this topic. So that you will understand whatever theory discussed here in these 2 titles will be focused on estimation of a drug substance or a chemical molecule. Okay. For that only we are going to learn about gravimetric method. Gravimetry represents what? You can remember it as gra. Gra represents gram, right? So gravi represents some taking weight. Gravity, gravi represents weight. Even gra represents gram. Gram is representing mass, right? Mass unit is gram. So that you can remember like that. So you are analyzing mass here in gram wise. You are going to take mass in gram wise, so that it is getting named as gravimetry, and it differs from other volumetric methods. It is differing from other volumetric methods where you have analyzed only volume, titer value in ml, right? Milliliters you have analyzed. Here in grams, mass is going to be analyzed. Okay. So we are going to discuss how the mass is determined, what are the principle and steps involved in gravimetric method. This is the first part. Now let's see what is gravimetry. This is the definition of gravimetry. Gravimetric analysis describes a set of methods used in analytical chemistry for the quantitative determination of an analyte. For the quantitative determination of an analyte, analyte represents the ion being analyzed. Ion here, see, it is not molecule, ion. If it is ion only, it can form precipitate. Since you have seen here in the title itself, you are going to study about precipitate. So that to get precipitate, it must be an ion. So analyte must be an ion that is being analyzed based on its mass. So that it is called as gravimetric analysis. Analysis represents determination, quantitative determination. Gravimetry represents analyzing mass. What mass you are going to analyze? Ion, analyte mass. Mass of the analyte is determined. So that it is called gravimetry. So what is gravimetry? Analyzing or quantitatively determining a mass of the analyte. Mass of the analyte is going to be determined. From that, once you analyze the mass, we can get the percentage purity of that particular analyte. How much pure it is also can be found out. So that it is represented with quantitative. Quantitative will say about how much amount, how much mass of the sample is present, and how much purity it is there in the sample, means in the mixture along with some other substance. How much it is present also can be found out. So that is the application of gravimetry. What is gravimetry? It says about what is gravimetry. Now we'll see about types of gravimetric analysis based on the application and principle applied in gravimetric method. There are 4 kind of gravimetric methods. One is by precipitation method, precipitation. Then another one is by volatilization. Either we will be precipitating the ion. Here what you have seen, analyte, ion. This particular analyte will be precipitated and then it will be analyzed for its mass. What you need to analyze in gravimetry? Mass. That is weight. Mass represents weight in grams. That's why gra represents gram. Then gravi represents gravity. Gravity includes in mass, determining mass. So that only it is called as gravimetry. Okay. So what way we will be analyzing mass? Either by means of precipitation of the analyte or by means of volatilization or through using electroanalytical methods. These 2 methods are advanced techniques when compared with gravimetric methods. Okay. Anybody else will join? 6 more members have to join. If anybody is waiting for the class, just tell me so that I could join them for the class. So what are the methods? Preliminary methods. Mostly in titrimetric analysis, we will be using precipitation, either precipitation or volatilization methods. Apart from that, advanced techniques are electroanalytical method. The formed precipitate will be analyzed through electrodes. So using electrodes, electrochemicals, electrolytes and electrodes are used to analyze the precipitate present in the solution. Okay, so this is called electroanalytical method. By means of applying electrical current, the analyte present, either ions present inside the sample solution will be analyzed. This is called electroanalytical method. And another one is based on physical property, mainly using temperature. Since precipitation or volatilization or making some solid residue will be achieved by applying the temperature, right? When you are heating the solution only, it will form the precipitate, so that you will get some solid residue, and that solid residue will be taken for mass determination, right? So likewise, in that basis, in taking the physical characteristics of sample, will be applying temperature. Temperature may be applied gradually, or some uniform temperature, constant temperature also will be applied for analyzing a sample. So that type of analysis is called as thermogravimetric method. Thermogravimetric method, that is the TGA. We'll be calling it as TGA. TGA represents thermogravimetric analysis. Thermogravimetric analysis. Thermo represents applying temperature. Gravimetric represents determination of mass. Quantitative determination of mass. Analysis is determination, quantitative determination. Okay. So this is about types of gravimetric methods. Precipitation method, volatilization method, electroanalytical method, then under physical methods, thermogravimetric analysis. Okay, these two are advanced techniques using instruments. These are analyzed, and these two techniques are used with like volumetric methods. It will be analyzed. Okay, so what are the four types of gravimetric analysis? Precipitation, volatilization, electroanalytical, and physical methods. In physical method, thermogravimetric analysis. Thermogravimetric analysis. Okay, so now we have seen what is gravimetry and types of gravimetric analysis. Hope you have understood. Determination of quantitative determination of analyte mass. That's it. Analyte in the form of ion. Why it is in ionic form? Then only it can be precipitated with opposite ion. If it is cation, anion will be precipitating that cation, so that it is in ionic nature. And the types of gravimetry we have discussed now. Now let's move on to some examples of different types of gravimetry. For physical methods, what are all the types of analytes are used, and what are the pre-treatment methods are applicable? We cannot get directly pure solid. If it is pure solid, directly we can go for measuring the weight. But in this method, you will be determining total solid present in the taken sample. So the sample will be having what? Praveen Gandhi? Mute your mic. If at all you have any questions, you can ask. Praveen Gandhi.
Ma'am?
Your mic is on. I thought you are asking some questions. Huh?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then mute your mic. No. So that you will get my voice clearly. That's why. So what? How we will determine a mass in the gravimetric method means, you will be, if you want to analyze, for example, take water. Water will be having many heavy metals, right? So if you want to focus on any single metal, for example, calcium or barium or whatever metal, and that metal should be precipitated, that metal particularly specifically at that some pH range, a particular pH range, it must be precipitated with some anions, halides, chloride, sulfate, or some anion will be used to make that metal get precipitated. As precipitate is nothing but insoluble substance. Precipitate will not be soluble in nature with the solution what you have taken the sample. So it will be precipitating, like silver chloride is forming. No? Oh, what?
Doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, இதுக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்தோம்ல முன்னாடி ஸ்லைட், அதுவும் டைப்ஸ் ஆஃப் கிராவிமெட்ரிக் அனாலிசிஸ் கொடுத்திருந்தாங்க. இதுவும் டைப்ஸ் ஆஃப்
கிராவிமெட்ரி. Yeah, in this tabular column only 3 types. It covers all the methods. Okay, the same types only. I'm focusing here examples. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. The physical method or thermal method ஒண்ணுங்களா?
Yeah, same only. Physical
Okay.
method represents means temperature, applying directly temperature. We will not use any chemical reaction. Where in precipitation and volatilization, some chemical reaction will occur. That's what I'm explaining now. The cations will interact with anions to form precipitate, and that precipitate will be filtered off, and that filtrate will be evaporated to get the solid residue. And mass of that solid residue will be analyzing in gravimetry. Where in other methods we will not like a thermogravimetric method, it will not go for any chemical reaction. Just temperature is applied. Temperature change and heating is not a chemical process, it is a physical process. That is why the method is classified under physical method. Okay, thank you Rajkumar for
Thank you.
asking. Okay pa, clear no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here, actually, this I have got from a textbook. That's why I have given. For only 3 types is mentioned, but during pre-treatment, you can find evaporation. Evaporation represents volatilization. And here means it includes all ignition, volatilization, precipitation. These all like pre-treatment methods. So physical method represents applying temperature only. So somehow without temperature applying, we will not get the precipitate. Okay, this is for example purpose I have given. Actually, referring many kinds of references, textbooks, I have got this 4 types. Okay, only otherwise you will be seeing only precipitation and volatilization methods in common for PA1. But advanced methods also are there. They are electroanalytical and thermogravimetric method. Thermogravimetry will lie under physical method only. Okay. And these are some examples. For precipitation, what are the metals are taken for precipitate and with opposite ions? Anions. What are the anions specifically are used? Okay, diammonium hydrogen phosphate is specific for precipitating magnesium ion. Likewise, we will be treating with some chemical reagent which is specific to that metal. So from the mixture, it might be combined with some other metals also. But the reaction with diammonium hydrogen phosphate will be specific for magnesium. Like how silver nitrate is particular for chloride ions, it is getting precipitated as silver chloride. Likewise, we will be treating all the metals with specific reagents to make that compound to get precipitated out. Okay, and that precipitate is measured, so that tells about how much amount of the particular ion is present in the sample. So we could analyze the amount of ion present in the sample, and whatever you are aiming for, either heavy metals or some anions, whatever you are aiming for your analyte, that how much quantity is present in that will be analyzed through determining weight of that substance. Okay, this is for some example purpose only. Don't confuse with the types here. These are all the types of gravimetry, only 4 types. This is some examples for this category I have given. That's it. Okay, if you are confusing, just only take the examples, don't consider these types. Only take the examples so that you will understand. Then next, coming to the principle part. Here already we have discussed that the principle behind gravimetric analysis is that the mass of an ion, weight of an ion in a pure compound, and can be determined. It means it can be, mass of ion can be determined as a pure compound. Actually, this sentence is wrong. Yes, we have discussed under what is gravimetry, will be determining, quantitatively determining mass of an ion from means in form of pure nature. In this, ion will be analyzed in pure form when it is present with the impure compound. Okay, so used to find the mass percentage of the same ion in a known quantity of an impure compound. This pure represents here standard, and impure represents your sample. You already will be knowing the standard compound value, mass of, if for example magnesium you are taking here, like magnesium you are taking, already magnesium, when it is reacting with diammonium hydrogen phosphate, how much quantity of precipitate you will get, that will be standard. means with pure form of magnesium, it would have been analyzed. Where the same ion is present with some impure compound. Impure represents it may be combined with other compounds. Okay, impure compound. Then we need to determine the mass of that same ion from the pure compound. Whatever ion you are taking, you need to analyze. Your analyte, when it is present in impure form, how much it is present, how much quantity it is present, how much pure it is, that can be analyzed comparing with the standard. So this sentence represents standard analysis and this sentence represents sample analysis. Okay, that's what the picture shows. The first process is weighing of the sample to be analyzed. Whatever sample you need to analyze is to be weighed after filtering and all. You need to weight. Means that is your sulfate sample, sulfate ion that you need to weigh, and then dissolving the sample in water. After weighing the substance, you need to dissolve in water. This is anion, which is sulfate. Okay, and that is dissolved in water. Then you are adding a suitable chemical to form a precipitate. So the chemical will be having cation to make your anion sulfate to get precipitated. So your solution will be of barium ion, and that will be added to the solution of sulfate ion to make barium sulfate precipitate. So it is getting precipitated as barium sulfate, and that is filtered off. The filtrate will be removed, and you are taking the residue. This residue will be dried off without any solvent particle. Drying, you need to apply heat. While applying heat below 60 degrees Celsius only, you need to apply heat. That you could find here 55 degrees Celsius. More than 60 degrees Celsius, we cannot heat any sample for drying, since it will be going for degradation. Okay, so more than 50 degrees Celsius, the sample will be going around 60 degrees Celsius, sample will be going for degradation. So between optimum temperature for evaporation is between 40 degree to 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, so below that only you need to heat for evaporation. So after drying the sample, the dry weight of sample is analyzed, and this mass, this represents the mass of your sample, barium sulfate. So this represents how much sulfate ions are present in the sample. The same ions will be reacting with the barium as a stoichiometric reaction, and it will be precipitating as equal moles of barium sulfate, and this barium sulfate is weighed, and this mass represented how much it is directly proportional to the ions, number of ions present in the sample what you have taken. So this will tell about the purity of sample also when it is compared with standard. Okay, we need to compare this with the standard. And next we'll see the steps in a gravimetric analysis. That's what you have seen here also in the flow chart. The same is given here. First is preparation of solution, then precipitation, then digestion of the precipitate. Digestion already we have discussed. Digestion represents applying some heat to this solution. Applying some heat to this solution so that all the sulfate ions will form precipitate with barium ions. Even smaller particles would not have dissolved properly in water. So while boiling, it will be getting dissolved completely. So all the sulfate ions will form precipitate with the barium ions. So that quantity, you will get accurate quantity. Accuracy of results. To increase that, this digestion of the precipitate is done. Okay, and then washing and filtering of the precipitate. Washing and filtering, this is the process. Washing and filtering of the precipitate with the same solvent, and then drying and ignition. Drying and ignition, this is what evaporation of solvent particles from the precipitate. Solvent particles are evaporated, and then weighing and calculation. It is weighed and calculated for the mass to determine its quantity and purity. So these are all the 6 steps involved in gravimetric method. Preparation of solution of the analyte, then making it to precipitate, then digestion of the precipitate, okay, to get a complete precipitation of the analyte, then washing and filtering of the precipitate, then drying and ignition, then weighing and calculation. So these are all the 6 steps involved in gravimetry. What are the types involved in gravimetry? precipitation, volatilization, electroanalytical, and thermogravimetric analysis. These are all the types of gravimetric analysis. Okay, what are the steps involved in gravimetric analysis? Preparation of solution, precipitation, digestion of the precipitate, washing and filtering the precipitate, drying and ignition, weighing and calculation. Okay. Now let's move on to what is digestion. That's what we have discussed, and it is known as Oswald ripening. Okay, the precipitate is left hot below boiling point of the analyte for 30 to 60 minutes in order to digest the particle. This digestion involves the dissolution of small particle and reprecipitation on large ones when cooling slowly. This process is known as Oswald ripening, and digestion is highly useful for colloidal precipitation. Okay, if you get precipitate like this in solid form, it will be of pure precipitate. When the solution in colloidal form, it will be mixing, like colloidal means semi-liquid. Actually, it is not a semi-solid, also semi-liquid form. So it will be spreaded all over the liquid. It will not completely get sedimented out, precipitated out. For that case, we need to go with Oswald ripening. Oswald ripening. Okay, colloids will be like a milk, how it appears. Best example you can take as milk. So it for precipitating completely the milk particles, then we need to apply, like we need to make the colloids as Oswald, apply for Oswald ripening. Okay, to get complete precipitation. And the second part of discussion is, in the first part of gravimetry, what are the things we have discussed? What is gravimetry? What is gravimetry and types of gravimetry, and then principle of gravimetry, steps involved in gravimetry. Steps, types, what is gravimetry we have seen. Now, and in that Oswald ripening also has been discussed. Then in the second part, we will move on to the purity of the precipitate. And this purity of the precipitate formation, after precipitation only, we are going for weighing and calculation. So precipitation is the major process in gravimetric method. So what are all the factors which will affect the purity of the precipitate? That is discussed under second part. In that, it is mostly concentrated for co-precipitation and post-precipitation. And before moving on to precipitation, purity of precipitation, precipitate, what is precipitate? We'll discuss now. A precipitate is an insoluble solid that emerges from a liquid solution. That's what you have seen in the flowchart also. Precipitate is an insoluble solid. Is an insoluble solid that emerges from a liquid solution. This liquid was monophasic liquid. When the reagent was added, it forms insoluble substance. So that is called precipitate. So that emerges from a liquid solution. Then here, the first parameter which affects purity is the primary parameters, which is not there in your syllabus. Then also I have added as factors which affects purity of the precipitate. Solubility, product, and the same point, solubility, product, and common ion effect to be discussed under precipitation titration also, where also in your syllabus it is not mentioned. So that I'm explaining here, since here also it is important to be discussed. What is solubility, product, and what is common ion effect? It is sure 2-mark question. Okay, every time you used to get 2-mark questions from in university papers, you will be getting solubility. What is solubility, product? What is common ion effect? Okay, so what is solubility, product? The product formed means formed from the neutral substance, that is the precipitate. The ionic product will be formed, will be in equilibrium. The concentration of ions in the solution. Aqueous represents in the solution ions. Barium sulfate in solution form, it will be existing as ion. But in the precipitation form, it is solid form. Barium sulfate in solid form. Here it is in solid form. Just wait, I'll put solid. This is in solid form since it is precipitate. Okay, and barium, where barium and sulfate ions are. Barium and sulfate ions are in aqueous form. This is soluble form of precipitate. This is precipitate form. Got it? How, what this reaction represents? Barium sulfate represents the solid. The is precipitate formed in the solution. Let me show you from the flow chart. So you can observe the third picture here. This is precipitate, barium sulfate. So this precipitate is in solid form, but some will be dissolved. Barium sulfate, it in solution it is present, right? So definitely it will not be completely solid. Some ions will be there, like barium ion and sulfate ion will be existed in the solution. And the ions existed in the solution, and the solid barium sulfate will be in equilibrium. Okay, so this is called as solubility product of that precipitate. Solubility product of that precipitate means concentration of ion, that is barium ion and sulfate ion, present in the solution aqueous form will be in equilibrium, both forward reaction and backward reaction formation of precipitate, and this formation of ions will be in equilibrium. So the concentration will be same. Barium sulfate concentration and ions, barium ion and sulfate ion concentration will be same, and this is known as K. K represents the solubility product constant for this reaction. Okay, and K is solubility product is equal to the equilibrium constant is equal to the concentration of barium sulfate. So when you take this reaction, then it will be coming to barium sulfate on left hand side, K into barium sulfate, then that is equal to concentration of ions. So what is solubility product constant? Equilibrium constant for the dissolution of solid substance into an aqueous solution. Dissolution represents solubility of this precipitate. Dissolution, dissolved, dissolving character of this barium sulfate. Solid substance here represents barium sulfate into an aqueous solution. So in aqueous solution, it will be existing as its ion, dissolved ions, and this will be in equilibrium, and this constant is represented with solubility product constant. So KSP represents solubility product constant. Okay, so solid barium sulfate when in equilibrium with its saturated solution, the product of concentrations of ions, the product of concentration of ions, 2 ions, not only 1 ion, taken 2 ions. Okay, so the product of concentration of ions of both barium and sulfate is equal to the solid solubility product constant. This is what known as solubility product. Understood, no? Solubility product, the name itself indicates that solubility of your precipitate. Product represents the ions, products of ions formed from that precipitate. So it is called solubility product, and it is in equilibrium, and the constant is represented with KSP, solubility product constant. Clear? Now we'll see common ion effect. Common ion effect represents if any common ion is present. When, for example, we have seen barium sulfate here, right? If barium ion or sulfate ion is present commonly in the solution, for example, we'll take the same flow chart. In the same solution, if you add, for case of sulfuric acid, if you add, what happens in sulfuric acid? H2SO4, it also has sulfate ion, and your sample also has sulfate ion. So this increases sulfate ion concentration. So this increases in solution sulfate ion concentration. When the same ion concentration is increased, the solubility will be restricted. Solubility for this precipitate will be restricted. So only it forms barium sulfate precipitate only. It will not going for dissolving. It will not be going for ion formation. So that solubility means what? From precipitate, neutral precipitate, the solid precipitate, it has to form ions. So in aqueous solution, it will be existing as ions. This ion formation will be reduced for when common ion concentration is increased in the solution, like sulfate or barium. In case barium also is increased, it will be solubility will be decreased. That's what said in common ion effect. So common ion effect is indirectly proportional to solubility product. Common ion effect is indirectly proportional to solubility product, since it will reduces the solubility. It will reduces the solubility. It makes only precipitate formation. See here, only precipitate formation occurs since common ion is present. Here we have taken some other example with a potassium ion, potassium nitrate. If it is added to potassium sulfate, potassium sulfate is precipitate, potassium nitrate is another substance, and it forms what happens, potassium is common in both the solution, right? Both the forms potassium is common, so concentration of potassium ion is increased, and this makes only to happen potassium sulfate formation. Only this backward reaction or forming precipitate is increased, so the ions formation, solubility of this precipitate is diminished or decreased. Okay, so that common ion effect will decrease the solubility, This is known as common ion effect. Solubility product is indirectly proportional to common ion effect. If any one ion in the solubility product, if it is increased, either barium ion or sulfate ion is increased, what happens? It will react with that particular opposite ion, and it will make it to get precipitated out. It will not allow this solid precipitate to form ions. So the solubility is decreased, and this forward reaction is decreased, where backward reaction is increased in a common ion effect. That's what represented with this arrow mark. Only backward reaction is increased, forward reaction is decreased. This is what known as common ion effect. Understood, no? And the applications of some common ion effect is given in this flow chart. It is applicable for qualitative analysis, then purification of salts. It is applicable to make, if you want to get more precipitate, then you can use common ion effect. Advantages also are there, disadvantages also are there. It reduces solubility, that is the concept. Wherever you need common ion effect to be applied for your solution, you can make it. Mainly for purification of salts, then regulation of buffers, to regulate buffers, pH, then water treatment, then manufacture of sodium bicarbonate, it is used, and then salting out of soap. These are all the various fields common ion effect is applicable. Now let's move on to co-precipitation and post-precipitation. So now name itself, it indicates that co-precipitation means the precipitation occurs, two or more substances will be getting precipitate simultaneously. Co means more friends will be walking simultaneously, or running simultaneously, or completing some work simultaneously. That represents co-workers. Or if you are working, we'll be calling it as co-workers or co-friends. Likewise, we'll be calling like that. Co-precipitation means two or more substances will be precipitated simultaneously with the expected analyte. So that is called co-precipitation. So this will mainly affect your purity of the substance. Okay, like a solubility product and common ion effect, co-precipitation and post-precipitation also will be affected. Okay, post means what? After. Once your analyte is getting precipitated, after then immediately another ion will be getting precipitated with that. So that is called post-precipitation. Co-precipitation is simultaneous precipitation. Post is after precipitation of your analyte, then some ions will be precipitated. So difference between co-precipitation and post-precipitation we'll see now. How the co-precipitation is defined means, co-precipitation is the type of precipitation where soluble compounds in a solution are removed during the course of precipitation. Soluble compounds in a solution are removed during the course of precipitation. Okay, so by means of co-precipitation, if any soluble compounds that will be interacting with the precipitation is precipitated out and it is removed. Okay, if any substance is interfering, if for example along with barium sulfate, if any other ion like magnesium ion also is getting precipitated, means in that case magnesium ion, before precipitating your barium ion, we need to precipitate it out. Magnesium sulfate as a magnesium sulfate or some other precipitate, and it should be removed from the solution. And then we need to focus on our analyte. So this is called as co-precipitation. Post-precipitation is a type of precipitation where the precipitation of undesirable compound occurs after the formation of the precipitate. So precipitation of some undesirable compound. We cannot predict what is coming with the analyte precipitate. This is of known. If some soluble compounds are present, for example, I have said no, barium and magnesium. If you take, if magnesium is interfering with your barium sulfate precipitation, then we need to remove the magnesium sulfate precipitation before only, before making barium sulfate is to get precipitated, analyte is to get precipitated. We need to remove the magnesium sulfate precipitation. So that is called co-precipitation, since both metals will be getting precipitated simultaneously. So it will have interference, so that we are removing one molecule precipitation. Where in post precipitation we cannot decide which compound is getting precipitated only, but it will be getting precipitated once your analyte is precipitated out. So that is called as desired compound precipitation. After desired compound precipitation, undesired compound will be precipitated. That is called post precipitation, after formation. Post represents after precipitation of your desired compound. Then degree of contamination for co-precipitation is high, where post-precipitation will be low. Since it is undesirable compound, only minute amount will be contaminating, so it will be low. Here, degree of contamination, if we allow the more soluble compounds, then all will be getting precipitated out simultaneously, so it will be highly interfering, contaminating your results. So that it is high and it is low. Time of precipitation during the desirable precipitation. Time of precipitation co will be same with your analyte. It will be same time it will be precipitating out. Where in post precipitation, after the desirable precipitation, the precipitation occurs for the compound. Then examples of co-precipitation is precipitation of silver ions with other ions during the silver chloride precipitation. Silver ion will be precipitated with other ions during the silver chloride precipitation. This is co-precipitation example. Okay, silver ion is getting precipitated with other ions during silver chloride precipitation, so it will be having interference. So to avoid that only, you are adding nitric acid, right, to give acidic medium and to stabilize silver nitrate, so that only silver chloride will be forming during chloride limit test. Performing chloride limit test, you will be doing that, right? And you are maintaining acidic media, so that it will be particularly forming silver chloride. It will not give some other precipitate. To avoid that only, you are maintaining nitric acid, acidic media with nitric acid. So since silver ion will go for co-precipitation with other ions. Then post-precipitation example is formation of calcium oxalate after the precipitation of magnesium oxalate. If oxalate is present, calcium also will form oxalate after formation of magnesium oxalate. Magnesium oxalate is your desirable compound, where calcium oxalate is not a desirable component. But the contamination will be low here, but here co-precipitation contamination will be high, since same concentration of other ions will be simultaneously precipitated out. So this is what the difference between co and post precipitation, and this is sure 5 mark or 2 mark question. Okay, in last papers, university papers also, it has been asked, okay, what is co-precipitation and post precipitation. You have to explain with examples, even you can show with diagrammatic presentation what way you are understanding. Okay. And these are all some selected precipitation gravimetric methods for inorganic cations and anions. These are all the analytes: barium, lead, silver, mercury, aluminium, beryllium. So these are all different metals and halides. And what precipitant? Precipitant represents the reagent which is used for precipitating the analyte. Then what precipitate is formed after that? Then what is the precipitate is going to be weighed. So this is the examples for different gravimetric methods. Then third part is estimation of barium sulfate to find out the amount of barium in the whole of the given solution of barium chloride. So your sample will be of barium chloride. You need to find out how much amount of barium is present. So how you will find out? We'll see the concept how barium chloride is precipitated and how we are determining the barium ion concentration. The given barium chloride solution is made up to a definite volume. Then a measured volume of it is then treated with dilute sulfuric acid and is then, all are listening, right? With this, we'll complete, okay? With the barium sulfate determination, we'll complete. Already you have seen how the barium sulfate is getting precipitated in the flow chart itself. Now we'll see what procedure is applied. Then you need to add a dilute sulfuric acid and then treat it with barium. And then treated with same is repeated here, dilute sulfuric acid, and the barium is precipitated as barium sulfate. Okay, it is treated with barium sulfuric acid, and this sulfuric acid gets precipitating barium as barium sulfate, and hydrochloric 2 moles of hydrochloric acid is removed. And the formed barium sulfate, this is barium chloride, is there in solution form. And this is also monophasic. This is also monophasic, where barium sulfate is solid biphasic solution. It is precipitate. And this is also solution form. In solution, we can find H plus and Cl minus ions. Since sulfate ions has been formed, barium means formed precipitate with barium ions. Then the precipitated barium sulfate is separated and weighed like through filtration process. It is separated and weighed. The mass of barium in the whole of the given solution is calculated, knowing that 233.36 gram of barium sulfate contains 137.36 gram of barium. Okay, so how much this is constant value in this amount of barium sulfate, how much barium will be existing? 137. This is constant value. By using this, we need to find out sample concentration. So this is what procedure given. The sample must be treated with hydrochloric hydrochloric acid and then sulfuric acid. First, it has to be treated with a hydrochloric acid for acidic media. Then after adding sulfuric acid, it forms the precipitate, and then the precipitate is washed with hot distilled water to get free sulfate ions. Then the particles adhering to the sides of the beaker and with a glass rod or removed by what it is given. See, the procedure I have copied as such from the textbook, so some mistakes are there, will rectify, but the procedure you should have understood, I think so. You have to make barium chloride as barium sulfate precipitate by using sulfuric acid. That is the concept. Okay, and here the same is carried out with the reagents of mentioned concentration. First, we are treating with hydrochloric acid. Actually, here it was given as nothing but hydrochloric acid. Dilute hydrochloric acid here. Hydrochloric acid. For acidic media it is given. Then if you are adding sulfuric acid, it is getting precipitated as barium sulfate. So hydrochloric acid is to stabilize the chloride ion, and to here common ion is hydrochloride ion, and sulfate ion is added to precipitate only barium sulfate. After then, the precipitate is calculated as per our schematic procedure already we have discussed, and the mass is crucible. Your container what you are using is crucible. Crucible, you will be calling it as china dish also. So that weight you need to take along with the lid. Then you have to add your sample. You have to take weight and subtract the weight of crucible and barium sulfate. You will get only content weight, that is barium sulfate weight, and that is compared with the barium weight. Barium weight only you need to find out. This is standard weight. Your sample weight is compared with the standard weight, and you need to write down what is the weight of barium in your sample solution, and after comparing with the standard. Okay, so this is where calculation is done and a result to be shown here. So with this, gravimetric analysis gets over. In the next class, we'll be discussing diazotization titration. Okay, in the next week, you will be seeing about diazotization titration. Is there any doubt in this? So steps involved in gravimetric method is what? First, we need to precipitate, and then precipitate must be digested. After digestion, it will be filtered, and then filtrate is concentrated. means washed thoroughly. After filtering, it must be washed thoroughly, and then it is ignited to get a dry residue, means evaporated to get dry residue, and the weight of that dry residue is calculated, and the weight of that residue is compared with the weight of standard value, and we need to report it. So this is what gravimetric method. So in the next class, we'll be seeing about diazotization titration in the same unit, unit 3. Okay, with this, I'll complete today's class. Thank you all for patient listening. Take care, be safe, okay? Take all precautionary measures for COVID. Be safe. Thank you all. Is there any doubt? If you have, you can clarify now.